I'm Sharon Knutson-Felix, and I'm the Executive Director of the 100 Club of Arizona. We're a nonprofit group that stands behind the men and women who stand behind the badge, and we do that in many ways, but one is by providing financial assistance to the families of officers and firefighters that are seriously injured or killed in the line of duty. And another thing we do is to provide resources to enhance their safety and welfare. And that's probably the connection of the 100 Club to what I want to talk about today with the memorial. One of the ways that we have found that we can help people enhance their welfare is by taking the survivors back to Washington, D.C., to go along back with them to see the memorial and to enjoy the week of the National Memorial Week. Phenomenal things happen there. One of the things that I think really the stage is set when people walk to the memorial for the very first time and they look down and they see their loved one's name written in stone. It's usually one of those moments that there's just not words to describe it. It's a sad, very sad moment. I can remember that I attended the memorial about a year and a half after my husband Doug was killed. And I thought that I was very far along in my grief journey at that time. But I was very, very surprised when I stood there and I looked down and saw his name, how a sense of grief just flooded me once again. But it gave me an opportunity after seeing his name and seeing all the other survivors that were there to realize where I was in my grief journey and to realize it was a great place to be able to start a new life. A time where I could reflect on the past, but I could also look forward to the future. At the memorial, there was thousands of people there. There is every color of uniform that you could possibly imagine. And when you see those uniforms gather together for a common cause to pay honor and tribute to those that have given their life, that have paid the ultimate sacrifice, there's some sense of this huge sense of pride that just wells up within your heart. And I have said many times that my pride was able at one point to override the grief in my heart. Of course, you never get over the loss of a loved one, but what you are able to do here at the memorial is you're able to see the pride, you're able to see what his life stood for, you're able to see what other people think, and you're able to see people's respect and their gratitude for what your loved one was able to do, for what his life stood for. One of the things that I'm very excited about is the National Law Enforcement Museum. I am a huge supporter. One is because obviously I've dedicated my life to help survivors and help in general public safety, but especially those people that have lost someone in the line of duty. The museum is going to really tell the story behind all of those names that are etched in stone. Just across the street, people will be able to walk in and they'll be able to read stories about each individual's name who's there, and they will understand the history of law enforcement. It's going to be such an awesome place where people can go and understand what it means to be a public safety servant. I think a lot of times people have no idea. Their idea of a public safety servant is whoever they've had contact with. Maybe if they've had a ticket or whatever's happened to them. But when they go there, there's going to be a spirit of reverence. There's going to be a spirit of gratitude, of honor, and they're going to be able to read exactly what it costs them personally and what it costs their community, what it costs those families to be able to provide protection for our communities and for our society. And the neat thing about going back to Washington, D.C., it covers the whole United States. The general public will be able to go there. I think people will be able, young children will be able to go to the Law Enforcement Museum. We'll have people that'll come out of there that'll make a decision, you know, that seems like something that I really want to do. I know they go to the Space and Air Museum and they come away and they want to be an astronaut. I believe that there's going to be people that will come to that museum, children that'll be influenced and say, you know, I can't think of a greater thing to do in this world than to be a police officer or a correction officer, to serve my country, to serve my community by being a public safety servant. So I I'm just so excited about what this museum is going to stand for, the opportunities that it's going to bring to not just the families of those that have fallen in the line of duty, but to all public safety. And without the museum, without the memorial, we would never be able to have the tribute and the honor given to our loved ones. We would never be able to tell the true story of what it means to be in law enforcement. Each year when I go and I read the stories that are left on the wall and some of the artifacts that are left, of course it brings tears to my eyes to see the children that leave letters to their dad or to their mom, or brothers or sisters, or parents leaving letters, or a poem or something they've written. I look forward to the day that I can go back and I can see something that was on the wall 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and then it won't just be the current year survivor things that are there, but I'll be able to revisit some of those and have some of those great memories. And I look forward to being able to sit in the theater and watch some of the educational movies and some of the history and some of the things that the museum's going to offer. I can't wait to take my grandchildren back there, tell them about their grandpa. There's places here in Arizona that I can take them to. There's stories that I can share here. But there's something special about being able to go on a national level and say your grandpa's name is right here. So I look forward to that day, and I think it's a privilege, it's an honor, and I am so grateful that the museum and the National Law Enforcement Museum and the memorial allowed me as a survivor not to just come there and participate, but they've allowed me to contribute and be part of it so that I can pay it forward for those that are going to follow in my shoes. And without that opportunity, I couldn't say I'm part of this, and I could just visit. I would always be a visitor. But when I go back now, I can say I'm part of this, and I know that I'm part of the healing and part of the respect and part of the pride of public safety.